What's up, guys? My name is Seth Heller. I'm 25. I've been a martial artist for 20 years, coaching and working with kids for about a decade, and I just recently moved to Central Florida to chase my dream of starting up my own martial arts school and a worldwide program and brand. A big part of my training has been in Tony Blauer's spear system, which he developed back in the 70s and 80s. And essentially, the spear system is the study of violence, aggression, and fear as it relates to human movement. So it deals with self-defense, it deals with fear and fear management, and it is a very, very vast system that is centered around physics, physiology, and psychology of humans. Now, like I said, I've been coaching this system for a long time. We actually incorporated the spear system into the martial arts program back at Budo. And this weekend was my very first online virtual level 1 instructor course. So I've been certified to teach the system before, but it's been a few years since I've done an official course, and this is the first time that I got to do it online. So it was a 2-day course. It was 8 hours on Saturday and 8 hours on Sunday. And the goal of the course was to teach all the students that were involved how to teach the system, but also just how to be the best coaches and instructors for our students that we can be. The course covered a lot of the core concepts of the spear system, as well as one of the biggest overarching drills that really dives into a lot of separate pieces in the system and kind of brings them together. The spear form, which if you look at it on the surface level, it looks a little bit like a kata or a form in traditional martial arts, but essentially it's just a sequence of movements to practice some of the tactics, the primal gross motor movements that we could use in a self-defense scenario. We use that sequence to understand how they can be applied in different scenarios from different positions and how the bad guy might react off of those different movements. In the course, part of the goal was to make sure that we understood all of those principles and could articulate them to our students. And that's a huge part of coaching, because you can talk and have all the knowledge in the world, but if your students don't understand what you're saying, then they're not getting the information. They're not getting stronger, they're not getting safer, they're not getting better. So being able to articulate that in a way that they understand is super, super important and a huge part of what was covered in this course. Now, like I said, I've done spear certification courses before. I've been to plenty of spear events, but this one was the one that I was the most nervous for, especially the last 2 or 3 days leading into the course, and then the morning of, and even the first couple of hours. But about halfway through the first day, I started to get into a little bit of a flow and get more comfortable. And after doing a lot of reflection and thinking about the course in the last couple of days, I realized why. So before the course, they had sent out a ton of preload materials, so essentially onboarding for the course. And that included 8 virtual Tony Blauer's garage gym lessons, which are about an hour and a half to 2 hours a piece of material of him teaching and going over drills and all of that stuff over Zoom with some students. So there were 8 of those lessons that covered some of the core drills, plus there was an additional one that covered a lot of what was going to be covered in the course too. Then there were some basic drill videos of covering some of the fundamental drills that are important for coaches to know how to use and utilize with their students. And then there were a few manuals, which were big PDF documents going over, again, a lot of the core principles in the spear system. So there was a ton of material to study, and I wanted to make sure that I was as prepared as possible for this course. I wanted to really make sure that I stood out, I put my best foot forward, and I was there to learn and absorb as much as I could. So I spent about over 25 hours, almost 30 hours prior to the course, just studying the materials, familiarizing myself with the content. Not that I haven't been familiar with it before, I've been teaching most of it for a long time, but to make sure that I was as prepared as possible, that I was refreshing my understanding and my memory of all of it, and I was able to apply and articulate it on the course to the coaches and to the other students that were there. Even with all of that preparation though, I was still super nervous. And like I said before, more nervous than I have been for any spear event that I've attended in the past. I went in expecting to do well, expecting to be the best, but still with the mindset of a learner and trying to contribute to the group as much as I could. Part of my preparation though was learning and studying so much on top of the knowledge that I already have from training in the system for 20 years now and then teaching it for a long time as well, was I kept learning and kept absorbing more knowledge and realizing more and more of the depth of the system. So it's not just a surface level system. It's not just you do these moves or you say these things. There's a lot to it, and there's a lot to the psychology behind it. And one of the big realizations that I had in the preparation through the course and now in my reflection afterwards is I was nervous because I was so much more prepared this time. I had learned so much more that I realized how much more I actually had to learn and how much deeper the system is. So this gap was created in my mind where I felt like I had so much to learn, even though I had increased my capacity to the point where I could see all of the things that I didn't know yet and thought there was such a gap between where I was and where I needed to be. But honestly, I was not recognizing the growth that I had made and the things that I had learned because, like I said, once I got onto the course, we were about halfway through the first day, I was answering questions, I was moving really, really well. I just felt good. I knew what I was doing. I felt confident with the material. And by the time we got into day 2, I was absolutely ready to go in and conquer. And I knew what I was doing. I knew I had done the homework and the preparation, and I had all of that behind me. So I was just going. And I felt really, really good. And I put on probably the best performance, quote unquote, that I have ever at a spear event because I did all that work. Now, some cool things about the course, I really, really liked how it was a small group. There were only 8 of us, and there were 4 coaches on the course. So it was a very small group, and we were able to get a lot of personalized, intimate coaching and training. And that was really cool because we were able to get feedback in real time that was specific. Another thing that I liked is we got practice coaching the other students on the course, and then we got feedback on that coaching. So it wasn't just like, oh, here's how you coach, here's how you do the things. It was, here are some concepts, let's see how you do with them, and then we got feedback on that. So we got feedback on our coaching, which I thought was really, really valuable. It gave us an opportunity to practice articulating the material in a way that was short, it was specific, and it was helpful to the students so that they could understand what we wanted. And as I said before, that was one of the biggest goals of the course, was to be able to communicate effectively the knowledge and the material that the students need to hear. And part of that is understanding and figuring out the way that they receive information and how they're going to learn it best. Overall, I feel like this course helped me get a much deeper understanding of the spear system as a whole. And I'm really, really glad that I put in the amount of time and effort I did up front, because that helped me make sure that I was ready to go into this course prepared and not having to worry about remembering things. It was just automatic. That way, I could just go and learn and absorb and try things and fail and get coached. And it created a much better environment, a much more conducive environment to learning for me personally, that I feel like I got a lot out of the course, more than I have at a lot of other spear courses that I've been to. And even more so than that, I have so much more confidence in my ability to teach the material now after going through this course. Not about anything specific in the course, but because I did the work ahead of time, I took the knowledge and I was able to apply it on the course, get that feedback in real time, and make those adjustments. So now I'm fired up. I'm ready to go. I'm really, really excited to continue teaching the system, applying the things that I learned. And like I said, I have a much stronger confidence because of this course, which is something that's really cool. It's a really good feeling to have. If you or someone you know is interested in learning about the spear system, training under the spear coaches, under Coach Blauer himself, comment below. I can hook you up with a bunch of resources. It's really, really cool. It's a system that's impacted me a ton, not just in my ability to physically defend myself, but even more so mentally and emotionally. Being able to handle conflict and anxiety and fear in everyday life has been the biggest thing about the spear system. Learning how to manage and understand fear and then use it as fuel, which is something else we say in the spear system, is a huge deal. So if that's something interesting to you, make sure you comment below. I'll hook you up with the resources. We can get you out to a course. We can get you some free resources online. And if you have any questions, of course, please let me know those in the comments as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.